update on a recent police-involved shooting. Over 600 nominated for local government, and a local NGO receives a hefty donation. Good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Cooper with your JCN News for this Thursday, January 13th. The press getting an update today that the investigation into the shooting death of Royal Bahamas Defense Force leading seaman Rodney Adderley by police is at its conclusion stage. With more, we go to our Tyler Simonet.
Royal Bahamas Defense Force Commodore Dr. Raymond King giving an update on the investigation into the police-involved shooting incident that claimed the life of leading seaman Rodney Adderley of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force on Monday morning. As he expressed his heartfelt condolences to Mr. Adderley's family during the Office of the Prime Minister's weekly press briefing, Commodore King says that the case is swiftly coming to a close.
With respect to the investigation and its update, the investigation is basically at its conclusion stage. The police would have compiled the evidence. The coroner would have visited the scene, and the file is being prepped to be presented to the coroner by tomorrow. But I wish to speak directly to the men and women of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. I understand your grief, your pain on Adderley's untimely passing. He was one I also considered a friend, a colleague, and a brother.
Dr. King assured the public that this matter has been given the full attention of the Commissioner of the Police and do care to ensure its eventual resolution. He also has these words for the public.
The grief and pain being experienced, I want to recognize the level of anger, frustration, and bitterness also being experienced and demonstrated. Most of it, I can assure you, is being influenced by inaccurate and erroneous information. Be mindful that we are members of a disciplined service, grounded on the principles of good order and military discipline. And hence, we must be responsible in our responses, particularly with the access to social media platforms. We have a social media policy that guides our conduct and behavior.
The Commodore also answered the question on everyone's mind, that is, if the family of Mr. Adderley will be able to see the body cam footage of the tragic incident.
I've met with the family, my executive, as well as my welfare teams on Tuesday, where we had an opportunity for me to offer my personal condolences. We prayed with the family, some level of counseling, and we answered all of the questions they asked, one which entails whether they would have access to see the body cam footage. And they were advised that that opportunity will come during the coroner's inquest.
While the body cam footage will not be made public, it will be available for viewing at the coroner's inquest, which is open to the public. For JCN News, I'm Tyler Simonet.
Thanks, Tyler. Opposition leader Michael Pintard weighing in on that recent police-involved shooting, as well as comments made by National Security Minister Wayne Munro on the same. On Tuesday, Minister Munro confirmed with reporters that he had seen the police's body cam footage of the incident, adding that it was consistent with the officer's reports. He also suggested that the deceased Marine may have had some mental challenges. Well, Mr. Pintard telling the reporters on Thursday during a sideline interview as he paid a courtesy call on the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce that public officials should be mindful of what they say as the viewpoint on a matter carries value.
And that's problematic. I think ministers in every government ministry ought to be cautious in giving the impression at the beginning of an investigation that they know what the conclusion is. And so I think it's most unfortunate. It is my hope that in subsequent interviews that the minister would dial back on those remarks, and that all of us in public life, we would restrain ourselves so early in an investigation to give such definitive position, since our positions carry weight.
Since the shooting incident on Monday, the public has called on authorities to release the body cam footage. However, the National Security Minister has stated that the video will only be shown during the coroner inquest. Mr. Pintard was also asked if the video's release should be done similar to the way it's done in the United States. The Marco City MP says this.
I can't speak to that at this time. I'd rather take advice from members of my team on that. I would only say this, that we have had, prior to the election, some other shootings that were involved. And there are members of the present administration who have comments on the public record then, who are also making additional comments. It would be useful for the media to compare those sets of comments to see if there is harmony in their position.
Last month, Commissioner Roll revealed there have been 13 police-involved killings for 2021. As the country experiences a spike in COVID-19 cases, so is the armed forces. The positivity rate of COVID cases in the Royal Bahamas Defense Force increasing during this fourth wave of COVID-19 due to the highly transmissible Omicron variant. Commodore Dr. Raymond King advising as much during the Office of the Prime Minister's weekly press briefing.
For the period mid-October to Christmas Eve, during the Delta wave, we had experienced on average about 4 active cases, 18 personnel being quarantined, a positivity rate of about 8.3%, and a recovery rate of 99.5%. However, with the onset of the Omicron variant, our numbers escalated to the extent the average cases average 131, personal quarantine 77. Our positivity rate increased up to 11%, and our recovery rate declined to 81%.
Dr. King noted that the Royal Bahamas Defense Force experiences a significant increase in cases during the final week of December 2021, where the number of positive cases increased from 13 to 169. During the first week of January 2022, cases peaked at 216 cases. The good news is that during recent days, cases have declined by some 55%.
In analyzing the contact tracing data, it revealed that 30% of the transmission occurred during family and social gatherings away from the workplace. However, some 45% of the cases were workplace transmission. Of course, we live and work in a very close environment on board our ships and our training facilities. But 30%, 25% actually, represented cases involved with travel abroad. In some, with respect to the COVID, some 37% or 560 of our members are fully vaccinated.
Commodore King notes that they have no plans to make vaccination mandatory for Royal Bahamas Defense Force officers. However, he is open to the idea of incentives. Well, local government elections, which is just 2 weeks away, have more than 600 candidates nominated. Minister of Agriculture, Marine Resources and Family Island Affairs Clay Sweeting says he is pleased with the number of individuals who recently nominated for elections. Nominations were held on January 6th. Some 617 persons were nominated. However, according to the minister, this number could dwindle if persons decide to withdraw from the register. Minister Sweeting, in a statement, says the number of candidates that recently nominated proves that Bahamians across the Family Islands want to get involved in the governance of the country. Up until yesterday, there were 92 districts up for grabs. The minister says that he is looking forward to working with the elected candidates for the betterment of their communities, adding that there are plans to increase the power of local government and other councils. The final day for verification of information on the register is January 15th. On January 17th, the register will be publicized After the elections, a recount will be held on January 28th. The writs will be returned and the results publicized on January 31st. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.